And a very good afternoon. Welcome to the Saturday preview with myself, Dave Massey, coming to you at just before 20 to 1 on a Friday afternoon. One or two reasons why it's going up a bit earlier today, the video. The first one being there are a couple of really big price ones that I'm going to be putting up on Saturday. So with the extra places that's going to be going up, I'm going to be betting those pretty soon, to be perfectly honest. Wouldn't surprise me if, again, one or two other people sort of cotton onto the fact that they're probably a bit too big. But mainly because I ain't going to get time later on tonight. I'm off to a carol service, and then in the morning we're going to be up bright and early, around about sort of 7:30 to travel up to Aintree for Aintree's card. Really good card tomorrow. There's 8 races, kicks off at 11:30. As I say, some fascinating contests, really. And a couple of absolute dice rolls that we need to have a look at. And one of those is the race that we'll kick off with. We'll look at Aintree and Sandown. Those are the two meetings I'm sort of concentrating on. Mainly Aintree, but there are a couple at Sandown that's worth a mention. First race on the old telly box is at 1:30. This is the Beecher, over 3.25 miles, where, as I say, dice roll doesn't even sort of begin to describe it. You can make a case for probably 2/3 of these. It's that sort of a thing. I mean, all the usual suspects are there. They're turning up. Ballyoptic in the race last year. Vieux-Lyon Rouge. Vintage Clouds. Walk in the Mill, who won it last year. Mystery as well. All these sort of old stays that you know and love. And you can, as I say, you can make cases for almost everything in the field, to be perfectly honest. I went back and looked at last year's race again, because I know last year I bet a couple in the race, and I'm pretty sure one of them was Regal Flow, and I was just starting to sort of get moderately excited last year when Regal Flow made an absolute mother and father of the Foinhaven fence. Just never really picked his front feet up. Catapulted. I can't remember who was on it last year. I'll have a quick look. I think it might have been. I think it was one of the Bowen lads was on it last year. But anyway, he just starting to get into the contest. It was James Bowen on it last year. He just started to get into the contest when he catapulted James Bowen out of the saddle at the Foinhaven fence. And I sort of went back to remind myself how well Regal Flow was going at the time, or not. And because I know at various stages he'd been pushed along. He certainly got outpaced, as it turned out, second circuit, and they were going down the line of 6 that ends in Beach, as he got outpaced there quite badly and made a mistake at the first as well, what would be the first fence on the second circuit. And that's always the worry with Regal Flow, that he will make a mistake somewhere, and the fact that he made 2 serious errors over these fences last year has to be a concern. Having said all that, he raced off a mark 140 last year, and as I say, he was just starting to get into the race. He was 2 lengths behind the winner, Walk in the Mill, when he made his mistake. So off 140, he's off 133 this year. He's 5 out the handicap, still puts him on 138. So the mark is workable. I am hoping that the rain comes this afternoon at Aintree. They are forecast heavy showers, because he needs this to slow the others down. There are classier horses in the race than he, but we know all he does is stay. He's a top stay. He's a Midlands Grand National winner on his day in Heavy Grand. All he does is stay and stay. If the rain comes and he can pick his feet up a bit, I don't possibly see how he can be a 66 to 1 chance for this, given that he was a 20 to 1 chance last year off a higher mark and was still in it. It's not like he's run badly either in his 2 starts this season. He definitely needed it first time up at Exeter. I mean, he faded right out of it there. But then he made him an 8 to 1 chance at Warwick, and he finished 3rd to King's Odyssey there, and he got beaten 2 and a bit lengths over 3 mile. He's only just getting warmed up at 3 mile, really. And he was doing all of his best work late there. That was off a marker 127, which still suggests he's capable in this sort of company on a going day. As I say, there are enough worries. There are worries with his jumping. You know, if he catapults Sean Houlihan out the saddle somewhere, it ain't the biggest surprise. With that, I know there are some firms out there that will give you sort of money back as a free bet if the horse don't complete. You could look at that as well as a sort of angle, if you want to try and cover yourself. But if he gets round and that rain does come this afternoon, I can see him in the first 5 at worst. And if they do go a bit too quick, he'll be plugging on better than most of them. So I thought he was interesting at 66. which is one or two firms have got up already, and they are 5 places as well. I'm sort of half tempted to wait to see what Sky Bet do, because they might go 6. They are 66s at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see. Another massive price one I'm going to put up in the following race, the 205. This is the fillies juvenile hurdle. Again, I'm sort of putting these up now in the hope that the rain comes. Because if the rain comes, a lot of these ain't getting home. A lot of these will be pulling up. You've got a field of 14 here, and if the rain comes, I'll be selling finishers at 6. A lot of these are not bred to be wanting sort of, it's 2 mile one in what could be reasonably testing ground by tomorrow afternoon. And with that, I sort of tried to narrow it down to the ones that might. And the one that sort of really, again, catches the eye as a 66 to 1 chance is Soft Summer Rain of Mick Easterby's, right down the bottom, the 14 horse. You need to forgive a pulled up effort at Sedgefield last time when I really fancied her that day, actually. The official line from the vet is vet had filly, I don't know, is atrial fibrillation. Now, I'm no vet, don't know what that means, but it don't sound very good, whatever it was, and it is probably a ready excuse for the fact that she ran so badly there. Forget that. Concentrate on her effort at Chepstow the time before when she finished 5th to Nordano, and that doesn't look at all bad. Didn't get beat very far that day. She's got beaten about 10 lengths in the end, just under 10 lengths. Doing all of her best work at the finish. The 4th home there, Sir Psycho, won at Wincanton next time. The 3rd Repetitio has come out and finished within 10 lengths of All Mankind at Cheltenham, and they're putting that in as Triumph Hurdle favourite, so that's all right for them. The 2nd, Catch the Cuban, won a Kempton handicap off a mark of 112. So the form of that's worked out pretty well. And when you look at her breeding, Champs-Élysées out of a new approach mare, all she'll do is stay. She's bred to stay. So again, I'm hoping that the rain comes just to slow some of the sort of classier contenders for this down. And if it does, again, I'd love a firm to go 4 places on this. And if they do, I'll be having an each way bet on Soft Summer Rain at a big, big price. 240, the Many Clouds, great race. Don't want to have a bet. More than happy to sit and watch that then. Then we come to the Sefton, where earlier on in the week, the one I wanted to be with was Ultra Gold. Unfortunately, it seems most people do, because Ultra Gold's been put in a 6 to 1 chance. I think this is Ultra Gold's trip. For all that they've tried Ultra Gold over further, we know he's had breathing issues in the past, and I think the further he goes, the more those breathing issues are exacerbated. I think this is what he wants. He wants 2-5 over these Aintree fences, which he jumped so well. He's popped round these before. He was 3rd to walk in the mill last year. He was plugging. I'll grant you, he wasn't fading from the last, but over 3-2 last year. But I just think over 2-5, he's got a bit more of a kick. He's got a bit more of a finishing kick to him. So I was sort of waiting for Ultra Gold. I was hoping for bigger than 6 to 1. I think 6 to 1 is fair, because again, I think a few of these look a little bit outclassed to me. I don't think there are too many you can fancy. Again, I ought to mention the bottom one, really, Heist. He's been put in 66. He ain't the biggest Heist, but he's one of those horses that, he finds masses for pressure. Heist. He's one of these, if you drifted out to a stupid price in running, particularly for the places, I might be tempted to just throw a few quid at him in the hope that then, he's sort of 20 lengths off, and then he does his usual thing of rallying really well for pressure, and he might be able to run on, throw a few beaten horses into the frame. But I think Ultra Gold would be the one for me there. Over at Sandown, some interesting racing. I think the Henry V is a race I'd rather watch rather than bet on. I hope Somerville Boy is back to his best, and Utoxeter wasn't a flash in the pan. I think he's sort of mirroring a little bit his stable companion Black Op, who looked really useful as a novice, lost his way last year, and then has come back to form this year. And I think Somerville Boy hopefully is doing the same. So whatever the ailments were with them last year, they might be over them. The handicap hurdle at 225. I do like Mac the Man as a future sort of chasing project. Really nice horse. Is he biting a bit too much off here? I don't know. I think the form of Protectorat, Paul Nicholls, he's probably a little bit better at this stage. He was second to Keen On here last time out, and that form's working out all right. The third was Trincomalee, who ran really well in that hot novice at Newbury last week, and the fourth was Dublin 4, who I mentioned last week, and he sort of traded under 3-1 in running. In fact, I think he traded about 2-1 in running when he gave Chelsea a scare at Bangor last week. So the form of that's working out fine. I think Protectorat's probably the most likely one in that 225. A fascinating Tingle Creek. I'm sort of drawn towards Politologue a bit. Whether I want to bet him or not at this stage, I don't know. I was actually sort of going back through his form, and unless I'm reading it wrong somewhere, I think he's actually unbeaten at sort of 2 mile, 2 mile 1 when he goes right-handed. He's not had many goes at it, to be fair, because they've tried him over further right-handed and he's got beat, but 2 mile right-handed might just be his thing. He's obviously 1 from 1 at Sandown, beat Fox Norton in the race a couple of years ago. He wouldn't have been suited by making his own pace at Cheltenham, and he only really gave best after the last. He got into the last a little bit, and he was giving Defy de Soy £3 there. And as I made the case, for those of you that read the Cheltenham notes afterwards, Defy de Soy was a lot fitter than he normally is for that first run. So normally you'd expect Defy to come on quite a lot first run to second run. I'm not as sure he'll come on as much this time around. That's not to say he won't, but I don't think he'll come on as much. And it wouldn't surprise me if Politologue reversed the form. Janika's moderately interesting as well in the race. Misses the Peterborough to have a go at this. The connections are having to go with Top Notch for the Peterborough instead. And I think he's got a really solid chance in that. Weirdly, Janika's actually rated higher than Defy de Soy, you know. I think by the tune of about £2 to £3. This is going to be his test, though. This is the acid test for Janika. But he is the sort of unknown quantity in this. You know, we saw him carrying big weights in handicaps last year. Then he's come out in the Holden, jumped really well there, and to me, always sort of looked the winner from 2 out. So we know he's got a little bit more stamina than you'd expect in your average 2 miler. He goes perfectly well right-handed, and he'll go with some cut in the ground. He is the unknown quantity, and again, if he drifts to a double figure price, you know, he's moderately interesting too. And then we've got the London National to finish off with, where again you can make cases for almost everything in the field. The 2 interesting ones were Dragon d'Estravalle, who's 3 times a chase winner in France. He's unexposed over here, but I thought he ran quite well on his seasonal debut at Ascot a couple of weeks ago. Looking for all the world like a stamina test would suit him. I think he's a possible improver now. He's going over a marathon trip. And Shanro Santos as well, who's a little bit of a cliff horse for me, Shanro Santos. I sort of keep sticking with him, and after last time at Fontwell, halfway round I thought, well, this is it, he's gone now. And then he's done his usual trick. His stamina's kicked back in again from sort of 3 out when they turned back home, and he's only got beaten about 5 lengths. That was in the regional national that they hold there. I think basically 3.5 miles is almost like a minimum trip for Shanro Santos these days. All he does is stay, and it's worth sort of bearing in mind he went off favourite for this last year off a high mark. He's going to be around about sort of 12, 14 to 1 chance. There is some pace in this. It's a question of how far he gets behind before that stamina starts kicking in again with Shanro Santos, but he's not without hope in an open race, and as I say, he's around about a 12, 14 to 1 chance, which looks fair enough. Anyway, as I say, it's all big prices tomorrow. I'm hoping to sort of get back on track a bit. I've had a couple of poor Saturdays, and it's been an annoying week on the tipping front. I found the right sort of races to have a go at, get the favourites beat and pick the wrong ones. So hoping to get the right ones tomorrow. So there's a couple of 66 to 1 chances in there. So if either of them so much as hits the frame, will be an all right sort of day. And who knows, we may hit the jackpot. Right, best of luck, guys, with all your bets tomorrow. If you're at Aintree tomorrow and you see me lurking around with the good lady and the children, I've bribed the children tomorrow into coming racing with me. They don't come very often. The promise of a McDonald's breakfast has lured them out. So we'll be around and about tomorrow, probably around the parade ring for most of the races. So if you see us, please do come and say hello. Have a good weekend, guys. I'll be back on Tuesday. Cheers. Bye-bye.